Qui prior videt, postremus loquitur. He who sees first speaks last. Courts learn this before armies do, and Richelieu learned it before most courtiers noticed they were already visible. Paris, the 1620s. Stone galleries, chapel smoke, velvet sleeves grazing maps, and every doorway carrying half a rumor. A court does not sound like battle. It sounds like breathing held too long. The Palais Cardinal was built from thresholds, antechambers, petition rooms, private desks. The chapel beyond. Architecture sorted urgency from vanity, and vanity lined up willingly. The building listened before its owner ever needed to. Louis XIII sat above the room and inside it. He wanted obedience, continuity, and a kingdom less fractured by noble private wars. He also feared eclipsing ministers, because crowns dislike mirrors that think. Richelieu wanted France consolidated, and the crown made legible to itself. He feared disorder more than hatred, which is a colder fear. He depended on the king's favor, and the king depended on his competence. The nobles wanted proximity, exemption, and the right to remain local sons. They feared central vision. Men like Gaston d'Orléans drifted through factions because drift can look like freedom until accounts are settled. The law of the watchful begins with delay. The early speaker donates information. The late speaker appears slower, though he may simply have collected the room before lending it a sentence. Machiavelli described princes who survive by understanding appearances, yet appearance ripens through witness. Hannah Arendt traced how systems feed on atomized uncertainty. The one who sees relations clearly often speaks least, because language reveals inventory. Consent in a court is rarely pure. It is arranged by timing, rank, and fear of exclusion. A minister who waits learns who rushes to belong. The price is paid by the eager, whose motives become public before their protections do. Clausewitz wrote that war is friction. Courts have their own version. Delayed speech lets another person spend certainty first. Pure leverage. The room calls it composure, while someone else has just financed the map. Richelieu let rivals announce themselves through grievance. A complaint reveals alliance, appetite, and panic in a single breath. Silence can look passive to amateurs. In practiced hands, it becomes a ledger. At key councils, he would absorb contradiction without rescuing anyone from it. One lord overreached, another corrected, a third retreated into flattery. By the time Richelieu spoke, their positions had arranged themselves like pieces after careless opening moves. The day of the Dupes in 1630 remains the cleanest scene. Many believed Richelieu finished after the Queen Mother's pressure. They celebrated too early. He waited, returned to the king, and let premature confidence expose who had wagered against the final authority. His speech arrived after the emotional tide had turned. Few words, correct audience. The cost landed on those who had mistaken atmosphere for decision. Several courtiers lost station, and France learned that timing can erase a chorus. Every such victory invoices the outer ring first. Servants dismissed with households. Secretaries whose letters became evidence. Provincial families attached to the wrong patron. Official history records ministers and princes. The corridor remembers clerks. The strategist also pays, though later. To see every room structurally is to thin one's faith in spontaneous affection. Iris Murdoch wrote about attention as a moral act. In power, attention hardens. The observer risks becoming unable to rest inside innocence, and the kingdom pays in another currency. Surveillance centralizes order, then trains everyone to perform before being known. Stability arrives, so does sterility. And human speech starts to sound pre-censored inside the throat. The pattern persists wherever status depends on interpretation. Boardrooms, committees, family estates, diplomatic circles, even private relationships. The first explanation often serves the listener more than the speaker. Someone reveals concern, someone else harvests context and withholds judgment. Years of watching have taught a dry lesson. Loud people are rarely the dangerous ones. The difficult figure is the patient witness with a memory for sequence, because sequence strips theater from power and leaves accountancy. So the choice remains old. Enter every room as appetite, or enter it as attention. One is easier and usually admired first. The other sees what the room rewards and who will be sent the bill. Until next time, stay sharp. Where does this doctrine challenge what you were taught?